How data flows through the OSI model. In order for human-readable information to be transferred over a network from one device to another, the data must travel down the 7 layers of the OSI model on the sending device and then travel up the 7 layers on the receiving end. For example, Mr. Cooper wants to send Ms. Palmer an email. Mr. Cooper composes his message in an email application on his laptop and then hits send. His email application will pass his email message over to the application layer, which will pick a protocol, SMTP, and pass the data along to the presentation layer. The presentation layer will then compress the data and then it will hit the session layer, which will initialize the communication session. The data will then hit the sender's transportation layer where it will be segmented, then those segments will be broken up into packets at the network layer, which will be broken down even further into frames at the data link layer. The data link layer will then deliver those frames to the physical layer, which will convert the data into a bit stream of ones and zeros and send it through a physical medium, such as a cable. Once Ms. Palmer's computer receives the bit stream through a physical medium, such as her Wi-Fi, the data will flow through the same series of layers on her device, but in the opposite order. First, the physical layer will convert the bit stream from ones and zeros into frames that get passed to the data link layer. The data link layer will then reassemble the frames into packets for the network layer. The network layer will then make segments out of the packets for the transport layer, which will reassemble the segments into one piece of data. The data will then flow into the receiver's session layer, which will pass the data along to the presentation layer and then end the communication session. The presentation layer will then remove the compression and pass the raw data up to the application layer. The application layer will then feed the human-readable data along to Ms. Palmer's email software, which will allow her to read Mr. Cooper's email on her laptop screen.